Hiya, it's Talking Reds. I'm Josh Sexton, joined today by my good friend Kev Walsh. We're still on a bit of a hangover, aren't we, mate, from last night's defeat? And I think
last night's Strongbow was giving me my hangover. I had the defeat. I'm not asked about the defeat.
I wasn't even drinking, you know. I was in a motel and I was just like, I'm not bothering drinking tonight, but sort of wish I had. Now,
Yeah, you should have to drown the sorrows.
Yeah, and I've had one today on Talking Reds, mate, but I'd get the comments all over me saying you're not old enough to drink, lads. So it's one of them. Double-edged
He is,
sword.
I promise.
It may sound like I'm not. I've done a bit of a pros and cons from the game last night because I imagine there's not been enough cons for how much you can move on Twitter given last night's game. First con though is the scapegoats. I've sort of seen all over Twitter last night the reaction seemed to be that Klopp had played the wrong team and that Dejan Lovren's the worst centre-half in the world and that Trent Alexander-Arnold's only getting in the team because he's Scouse and all this bollocks, and that's all it is, Kev. It's absolute bollocks, isn't it?
It is 100% bollocks. I think on the Trent thing, it is. I think you can work back on the other two. Listen, Trent gets targeted at right back because he's a centre midfielder playing at right back, I think, but he's a brilliant right back. But as I heard Neil on the post-match show last night say that you've got to be careful saying teams target one side or the other because you've got to play somewhere on the pitch, you know what I mean? You can't say, well, their back four is brilliant, we won't attack anyway. So I think it's obvious that you've probably gone to attack him because the other side is Van Dijk and Robertson, so everyone's going to have a go at that. I think Lovren last night, he put the performance in of a man who's going to be a third choice centre-half when everyone's fit. I'm not damning him there at all. It can happen, but it's just in a game with such fine margins, it's too little. If it's been Van Dijk in the same situation, I don't think either of their goals happen because I think the second one, he gets in line with everybody else and he's offside as the ball comes through from Sterling. And I think for the first one, he's just flat-footed, isn't he?
I don't know what it was like in the ground, but I thought they actually played him quite well. Like I sort of was watching Aguero and Sané's movement all night, and you could tell they were relying on Trent to sort of come out of his position, and then they knew that Lovren would have to come along to cover him. And I think that City did just genuinely play him very well.
Yeah, they just overloaded that side of the pitch, which is what you're going to do against that team. Because if you try and overload the other side of the pitch, you're wasting your time. Because even when he did have a little bit of success last night, apart from the goals, Van Dijk was everywhere. The amount of clearances and blocks he had, I thought he was excellent. As you said about the team selection, I think the midfield selection for me, I think everyone sort of thinks that midfield three, that was perfect last year when we needed teams to overrun teams. Yeah. I think it's at its time now, especially against the team. That midfield three will do a good job against the team that is very panicked about getting harried. But that City midfield was never going to be harried out of the game.
And we looked instantly better when Fabinho came on as well.
We had 100% more control, didn't we? So I think that midfield three that sort of negated our attacking options as well, first off. But if that Mane goal goes in, you can say, well, it's a perfect Klopp masterclass. So fine margin, that's the thing to take away from the game.
Yeah, and mentioning scapegoats, Liverpool Twitter was out in force last night. I'd almost forgot what it was like after we'd lost, to be honest, Kev. It was a fucking shit show, wasn't it?
To be fair, I didn't have much thing on Twitter last night. I just put on there, we'd have all taken being 4 points clear at the start of December, wouldn't we? So yeah. I didn't really have a look at it. And also, 4 points clear going into what is effectively now a mid-season break for us. We've got a winter break because we've got 11 days. That game against Wolves, honestly, I'd see if Michael Stensgaard fancies a game. Honestly,
I might ask Klopp if I can have a game, to be honest.
honestly, got Michael Stensgaard in goal. See if Kevin Keegan fancies a run out up front. You know, honestly, I wouldn't let any of our players anywhere near it.
He's still slagging Gibbo for eating all his biscuits. So.
Honestly, John Achterberg to manage a fucking shadow strength Liverpool team, and I think that's absolutely fine. Send all our lads to Benidorm for a nice little warm winter training. We'd be absolutely smashing it.
Can't believe you're pushing Benidorm for our team, you know. Absolutely off its head. Well then, the second thing then, I suppose you got a bit more of an experience from being in the ground last night. It's their fans. What a fucking weird breed they are.
They always have been. I know this. It's very common now to give them stick and say, oh, they are a new breed of fan, but they are quite a weird breed of fan. But I think, as we just said off camera there, I think what it is they've got a lot of young lads who probably don't have any sort of match-going etiquette, and you can get tickets, which is a good thing because you can get the tickets, but it's a bad thing because they're an absolute gang of fucking virgins. So honestly, none of them have ever seen a tit in their lives. So they haven't got to act at a football match. Honestly, they haven't. So
Sam's absolutely gone behind the camera.
honestly, if anyone was in the ground last night, you'll know exactly what I mean, especially if you're anywhere near that divide. Because they're a gang of young lads with daft earrings in, and scarves wrapped around their faces. Birds don't go for that type of thing, boys. So pull yourselves together and act a little bit more scout. You might have a little bit more success. But yeah, they've always been, to be fair, they've always been the same, Man City. Even when he was shite and they were at Main Road, the fans were a bit weird, but the Manx, so what do we expect?
Yeah, exactly. We'll move on to the pros anyway and make it a bit lighter for this part. I actually thought Liverpool played well for the most part, and I think that's going to be forgotten in all the thing. It was two great teams going up against each other. It was two great teams trying to disrupt what each other did, and I think for the most part we did. We stopped City getting a foothold in the game. They stopped us really catching the break that we needed, getting a counter attack, and that was it, wasn't it? The two good teams played really well.
It felt like two teams that were both trying to control the other team, which is inevitable, I suppose, when you get managers as good as Klopp and Guardiola. But I think
there's a lot of respect for each other as well.
Exactly, I think we give them too much respect with that midfield in the first half. I thought we controlled them well, but they come on to us far too much. Because every time we got the ball, there seemed to be a really big gap between attack and midfield. Because when you put the three we had in there, and especially I suppose Milner would be your link with attack normally, and he probably wasn't at his best last night, whether he wasn't fit or whatever it was, it just wasn't his best game. So I think the fact that we had the three and they were sitting so close to the defence, it felt like we were inviting pressure all the time, but it also felt like we dealt with that pressure no problems at all, apart from the one slip up by Lovren, which let Aguero in. But fair play to Aguero, what a finish that is, you know what I mean? He's put that from the tightest angle you could imagine, and he's put it in the only place where Alexander-Arnold is. Both
the goals are, aren't they? It's literally the only place they can hit it in the goal.
Well, the Sané one, it's the inch away from being what Mane's could have been. He could have bounced back out, or Mane's conversely could have had the other inch and gone in. So them small margins are what win your matches like that. What we've got to look forward to is we won't lose the league with that game now, and we don't have to play them again now. And our record against the bottom 14 or bottom 15 teams is we beat every single one of them home and away at the moment. So if we keep that up, we'll still win the league.
And I remember having the same conversation after the Arsenal game, after the draw there, where people were saying, it shows how far this Liverpool side have come, that a 1-1 draw at the Emirates was being viewed as a bad result, and it seems the same thing again from last night. The fact that we were millimetres away from going 1-0 ahead, and there's about 3 goal-mouth scrambles where they have it cleared off the line against what is a really good City team who took their chances so ruthlessly. It does show how far this Liverpool team have come, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think the fact that we're the only team in the world probably that Guardiola would change his team for says a lot about it. The team he comes to Anfield with was a surprise to everybody, but it worked. I think last night's team was a little bit of a surprise as well. He went with a lot more experience in the side, but against anybody else he wouldn't do that, because this Liverpool team are a very, very, very good team with an excellent manager, probably the best manager in the world in my opinion. So I think we're there to be shot at now. So that brings with it itself a whole new era of problems, because teams will change their game to try and disrupt you, and they will target certain areas of your team. But the thing is, we're good enough to deal with that 9 times out of 10. Last night, as we said, with the width of a post away from going 1-0 up, and the complexion of the game's totally changed them.
And the attitude off the back of the game has been very defeatist. We've sort of said that a few times throughout it, but I want a Kev Walsh pick me up now with 4 points clear after 21 games. Offer us out at the start of the season, and even the loss to City, the one loss of the season, by the way, and you'd be biting someone's hand off.
Well, after that, at the start of December, I think the start of December we were a point ahead of them. I say they just drawn a game or whatever it was, and we were, I think, 16 goals behind them. Goal difference now was exactly the same. I think we're 4 points ahead of them. We've got a run of very, very winnable fixtures coming up. To be fair, so have City, but they've just had a run of very winnable fixtures and lost 3 of them.
And they're still 4 points behind us.
Exactly, and plus our lads are all going to Benidorm for a nice warm winter break, so we're actually flying. I still think anyone who's not still buzzing with where we are in the league now, listen, I can understand if you got a little bit of a hangover off defeat yesterday, but we don't need that. That attitude is not, it's none of our business, you know what I mean? Play that Wolves game on Monday and we can just, as I say, genuinely, I wouldn't put any of our players anywhere near that. I wouldn't risk anybody. I know Shaqiri probably want the minutes, I wouldn't give him them. I'd keep him staying at the leash. Matip even, you know what I mean? I'd put the kids in there because effectively I want to get beat. I don't want to go for any further in the FA Cup. We've got a European Cup game coming up with no Van Dijk in the first leg. I think that's going to be a real sign of how far we have come when he comes out of the team, and we probably Gomez and Lovren together and see how they deal with Lewandowski. So we've got some challenges coming up now. The FA Cup, it's finished in my opinion, so it's a distraction we don't need, so get rid of that. And as I say, I genuinely would say to the players, go away and have a few days with your families. You've had a really busy Christmas time, go and have a little bit of warm weather somewhere, wherever you want to go for 4 or 5 days, come back. We'll have like a little mini pre-season again, check where everybody is, and then go at them league games and absolutely smash the life out of it. And if we win the next 4 league games, there's only 14 games to go then, and it really is on, you're going into the back end of the season there, and City will be a minimum 4 points behind if we win the 4 games. And as I said in December, if we win our 4 games, I can see them dropping points again if they do. Do you know what I mean? It's ours. It is ours, isn't it?
And we've dropped no points against anyone outside the top 6. City have now lost 2 of them games, so you're looking at the run of winnable games. You think Liverpool have got the better side of it. But me and Craig are going to be going to Stuttgart this weekend, covering the 19s. I'm a bit worried, to be honest, that none of them are going to be there because they're all playing against Wolves now, thanks to you, Kev.
All our under 19s are about this big because they're all actually only 40.
They'll be actually asking me and Craig to play, and Craig's not under 19, by the way. So what's coming up from the Anfield Wrap then? We've got a live show in Brighton on the 11th of January. If you want to get tickets for that, it's theanfieldwrap.com/tour live. In terms of shows today, we've got the Weekender out, we've got the review out from last night's game, we've got the Friday show, and if you need a bit of a pick-me-up, we've got an AFQ later on as well. Kev, are we going to win the league?
100%.
Of course we fucking are, up the Reds.